Hello, I'm Miss Taylor, and this week we're talking about my self-study, which is how can we use technology to support English language learners, hereby referred to as ELL, students in the classroom. This topic was important for me because I'm minoring in teaching English language learners, otherwise known as TEL, and I wanted to be able to provide as much support to the students as I could. I wanted to be prepared with as much knowledge as I could possibly have, so I could support them throughout the whole process. I have learned both French and Spanish before, so I know how difficult it can be to learn new languages with different conjugations and verbs. And so all the studies I looked at had different ideas on how to support them. One focused on working with ELL students and their teachers to improve reading with a program that was actually not designed for ELL students, but they found worked really well. Another one was based on connecting ELL students in different countries and having them like Skype with each other to support each other, which I think that one was my favorite. The reason they did that was to incorporate new communication, mediate conversations into the classroom. I think one of the best ways that a teacher can assess students with their overall reading fluency is the fluency. Overall reading ability is with their fluency of oral reading. This program was designed for supporting the repeated reading strategy for ELL students, which is another one of the studies. Another is discussing the idea of e-learning in practice with the constructivist theory, which we talked a lot about in our program. It talks about how to implement e-learning in your classroom. It also provides recommendations for effective e-learning. My last article was based on the study conducted to explore how conversations with assessments, formative and summative, and how can we support science learning for ELL students in these classrooms. The part that really interested me was the conversations that occurred between the students and the teachers. So the way I planned on studying this in my classroom was by observing all of my English language learner students. We spent a lot of time reading stories and having students write their names. That's what we were working on, and recognizing their name when it's written. I had quite a few students who couldn't write their names, so working with them and using analog technology to better support them. So I found that in my actual classroom, one of the best ways I was able to support my ELL students was just sitting beside them and working one-on-one with them and just being there if they needed help. So quite often I was working with them during math, and so one of the best ways we found for me to support them during math was by quite literally sitting beside them and giving them a manipulative and showing them like, okay, you can put this here and that's the same thing. So being able to support them using different strategies. So manipulatives is one of my favorite for analog tools. Another was we use a website called Starfall in the classroom. So just letting them go sit on the computer, and it's like does math games and literacy, and it reads stories, so it just helps them becoming more aware. And my final way that I did that was actually doing calendar. So we'd always have our star of the day, and they would come up and they'd have to point at the numbers on the calendar and we count all together. And so it was getting them to see like, okay, this is how it's relatable to your daily life. And then we'd also count in sign language, which just shows it in a different way. Overall, I found that the use of both analog and digital technology really helped to support my ELL learners, especially with being able to express what they want and being aware and on track with the curricular outcomes. Overall, I think that I will definitely be using these tactics in my future classrooms.